Now I'm going to introduce someone who is one of the 5 proposals with the City of Stratford. Again, I'm not involved with deciding who is actually going to be the winner of the proposal with the city, but I had reached out to David through an associate, and he has a marvelous plan, and a lot of what he'll tell you is probably boilerplate information from regional tourism that all the plans would probably use, and so he'll just give some information on what he's experienced with the attempt to put a proposal in, as he has with Stratford, and what his plans for the future are. And it's David Reed.
Well, you don't have enough time, camera, film, and what have you, for me to talk and really describe to you my experiences here with Shakespeare, but I'll try to make it as brief and succinct as possible. I go back a long way in the theater, from Yale Drama School to starting my own theater called, I suppose, to some people, whimsically enough, the Polka Dot Playhouse, which had a successful tenure for many, many years. In fact, it opened the year before the American Shakespeare Theater did, here in Stratford. But I'm here to talk about Stratford and Shakespeare this morning. I had the privilege many years later, after the success of the theater group that I had headed, to be asked to come to the Shakespeare Theater on the staff, to serve on the staff as Director of Marketing and Audience Development. I'm a lot older than I look, perhaps, but don't hold that against me. I still have the energy to, I think, help accomplish what needs to be done here. But in those years, 1968 through 1975, I was responsible, along with many others, for making this theater a destination. It had already gotten a wonderful reputation in terms of producing Shakespeare for many years. It opened in 1955, and then here we are in 1968. But in those days, we were looking toward regional audiences. People seemed to think that, well, only people in Connecticut or New York would come to the theater because it's closer. How are we going to get somebody from Indianapolis or Pittsburgh to come to this theater? That was my task. I said, how do I do that? Well, I decided the best way to do it was to tie in with the cultural attractions in New York and also to study what airlines had good connections from such cities as Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, Raleigh, North Carolina, Gulfport, Mississippi, Shreveport, Louisiana. These places, I said, how do we get people to buy a ticket to Stratford Shakespeare? You would say, impossible. Well, when we got together and joined with the Lincoln Center and the American Ballet and Broadway theater productions, we found out we all had a common interest, and that was in the arts and providing the entertainment and cultural experiences for many, many people beyond just our narrow borders. So we put together tours with the airlines, a performing arts airline tour, and we're going to do that again if our group is fortunate enough to get the contract to do this. We will put this town on the map. I say we, I mean all of you who want to be a part of this enterprise. We will need you. But we had people coming in, as I say, from Pittsburgh, Indianapolis. We had airlines, Piedmont, Allegheny, Southern Airlines, Southern Airways, Ozark Airlines. Can you imagine? We had people coming from the great state of Missouri coming here to this theater. Now, we can do that again. This is the most beautiful, fantastic cultural enterprise, both in terms of the ambience and the beauty of the site, and more particularly in terms of its function as a probably one of the most significant, important theatrical cultural enterprises of the 20th century. And now we're in the 21st. Mr. Langner, Philip Langner, the son of Lawrence Langner, had a great deal to do with this enterprise. He was a young fellow then, and so was I. And I don't know how much of you know about the great history of the Theater Guild, one of America's greatest Broadway production companies. They are the ones that produced, and due to Lawrence Langner and Philip and his family of professionals, They produced, if you don't know it, Oklahoma, South Pacific, Carousel. Lawrence Langner found the Alfred Lunt and Lynn Fontaine, actors that I could go on for hours describing what went into the founding of this theater. They all came here, they all performed here, and although many of them have passed on, there will be new ones coming along. We have cultural ties with the Yale University, the drama school. We certainly will have some with the rest of the educational institutions here. And we intend to make this a destination, not just for Connecticut and New York, but the whole eastern seaboard, as far out as an airline can easily get into New York on a weekend. That's the key right there. One of the reasons that Shakespeare, the American Shakespeare Festival Theater, had troubles and why they finally had to give up the project in 1985 was because they didn't have enough ancillary income. Here we were bringing 12,000 people a week into this town, and we were farming them out to hotels, inns, restaurants, all over the place. Now, what's to say that we shouldn't have a bit of a share in that if we had enough common sense to align ourselves with those kind of enterprises that could make money? This time we intend to do that. As you may see, if this is in the picture, an artist's depiction of our plans. We intend to build on this part of the property. I'm pointing to a peninsula down here, beautiful park-like setting, to the just to the right of the theater. We are going to build the Shakespeare Inn, a 132-room inn. It's going to have a 5-star restaurant. It's going to be available for business activities, conventions, facilities, and the theater, a 1,500-seat house. Can you imagine the desirability of a company that wants to have a small convention here, but can't afford and to go into New York and pay the heavy inordinate cost to have it there? What we can do to attract that kind of facility, that need those conference facilities, we have it here. A 1,500-seat theater plus a beautiful inn to be able to put people up to take care of those thousands of people a week that will be coming to this theater. I could go on and on, but all I want to say to you is that this is a diamond, this theater. It's one of the crown jewels in the American theater, and I referred to it some time back as the temple of the arts. That's what it is. It's in very, very good, healthful condition. Those that say that it is not worthy of being restored because it's ready to fall down, I don't know where they get these ideas, but that building was made with steel and the best kind of building materials you could probably imagine. It will stand along any cathedral built in the 1400s in Europe as far as durability is concerned. So we intend to spend a good deal of money to not just restore the theater, but to build new audience amenities, a beautiful new lobby, which, by the way, will stretch all the way out to the street curb here, extending out from the front of the theater, and with a panoramic view, of course, of the water. Those are just some of our plans. We will have an academy, a training institute for professional actors, and we will be sure that this is the focal point for those young people who want to enter into the theater and want to make theater a career. This is the place where they can begin. Well, thank you for the opportunity, Joe.
David, thank you very much.